This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. Get the CuriosityStream Nebula Bundle deal for about $1 a month at curiositystream.com/HAI. This is William Shakespeare. He used to write plays and wear silly neck shirts. If you've dabbled in his work, cool. If not, also cool. Whether you've got a theater arts degree or you're a contributing member of society, we know you know who he is. He's such a big deal, in fact, that you've probably come across rumors that maybe Billy S. didn't actually write all those famous plays. And if you've heard those rumors before and went, I could see it, or whether you're a believer yourself, you're not alone. Famous people from the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Mark Twain, Sigmund Freud, and who I'm told to be famous people in the Shakespeare acting world like Derek Jacobi and Marky Rylance, all the way to famed dead robe lovers John Paul Stevens and Antonin Scalia are all doubters too. So why do so many old white guys with well-cited Wikipedia pages think that Bill Shakes was a stone-cold liar? Well, the answer has to do with a combination of scant evidence and human psychology. To be clear, we here at the Half as Interesting Content Minds are of the opinion that these theories are, well, dumb. But nonetheless, we're going to explain them because, as American news media has taught us, all stories have two equal sides that should be given the same amount of attention. Okay, so the biggest Shakespeare deniers are called Anti-stratfordians, a properly pompous British title for the art world's tinfoil hatters that also offers a pretty concise explanation as to why they doubt Shakespeare: because of his roots in Stratford. You see, even the Bard bashers agree that Shakespeare was a real person from a town called Stratford-upon-Avon, which was just a rural market town far from London. It was in this humble town that a humble Papa Shakespeare, an illiterate glovemaker, married an illiterate Mama Shakespeare and made a baby Shakespeare, and that's where the Anti-stratfordians see strike one. Shakespeare didn't come from a well-to-do family with fancy things like books or written words, and his parents couldn't even read. And as we all know, if your parents didn't do something, you can't do it either. But the Anti-stratfordians go further. They also point to Shakespeare's limited paper trail as proof that he couldn't have written literary bangers like Othello. As the haters point out, there's no record of an education, no leftover personal letters, no proof he actually owned any books, and when it came time to be dead, Billiam left an uncharacteristically boring will with no reference to personal papers or any of his unfinished plays. Thus, strike two. As we all know, picks or it didn't happen. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't it take 3 strikes to get someone out? Well, you're quite right. See, your youth T-ball trauma was worth it. But, much like grocery store workers, Anti-stratfordians can't seem to get the strike they need, because it turns out they can't come up with an alternate author that makes any sense. Other playwrights and rich guys like Edward de Vere and Christopher Marlowe, well, they would have had to write plays while they were dead. Smart guys who did science like Francis Bacon, well, he didn't write plays, and using a cipher to uncover his hidden signature in Shakespeare's plays doesn't count as evidence in real life. We could keep going down the list here too, explaining why each option they've come up with is dumb, but the Wikipedia list is 87 names long, and we just don't have enough stock footage to cover that. The point is, these theories are so far-fetched that to those who actually study Shakespeare, professors of Shakespeare, independent scholars, folks at the Royal Shakespeare Company, me since Monday, suggesting an alternate author of Shakespeare's works is the equivalent of questioning the moon landing, or climate change, or thinking the guys from Wendover and HAI are the same person. Why then have so many people, whether it be the famous, the intelligent, the not intelligent but good at acting like it, and whoever Derek Jacobi is, come to entertain these theories? That's a good question, and the answer stems from our tendency to take a few factual oddities or points where evidence is lacking, in this case a modest background and the missing paper trail, and turn them into the bedrock of a false new reality. Don't feel bad if you've done this. According to one study, about half of all Americans believe in at least one disproven conspiracy theory. Then again, 20% of Americans can't find America on a map, but the point is, conspiracy theories can be easy to fall for because they take advantage of some of the dumber parts of our smooth little egg brains. You see, as the American Psychological Association highlighted in an article I read so you didn't have to, what do we know about conspiracy theories? Conspiracies tend to offer neat, tidy explanations for confusing and/or scary things, which then fosters both confidence in the face of tough times or a confusing subject, and also a sense of community with other believers. By the way, if you're feeling like conspiracies are really in right now, you're right. And that's because life has gotten really confusing in the last few years, and as these fancy academics have displayed, when crises arise, wild theories that try to explain away the confusing scariness become increasingly popular. When things get weird, we want something to blame, a sense of security, and a community, and conspiracy theories offer all of the above. For example, say a complicated disease showed up one day and forced everyone inside for 11 months. That would be a really scary development, and you'd have no idea what's going on or how epidemiology works because you studied Shakespeare in college. Well, then it'd probably be pretty empowering if you read a few blog posts that told you it was all a hoax created by the reptilian elite that you should overthrow with your buddies instead of a confusing disease that you can't even understand, makes you feel powerless, and forces you to isolate yourself. All it takes are a few cherry-picked facts that cast some doubt, a seemingly plausible alternate explanation, and bingo, now you think pizza is a gate, lizard people have taken over your government, and some other bald white guy wrote Shakespeare. Something that can help you from giving into the dumber parts of your smooth brain, however, is taking in all the educational content you'll have access to when you sign up for the CuriosityStream Nebula bundle deal. For under $15 for a whole year at current sale pricing, you'll have access to thousands of CuriosityStream's top-notch documentaries such as Dark Web Fighting Cybercrime, which shows that there's more out there in the dark corners of the internet for you to watch out for beyond Shakespeare conspiracies. Also, with the bundle deal, you'll have access to the entire HAI and Wendover library without ads, all of my HAI and Wendover originals, and all the content from a host of educational creators that cover everything from music to productivity and fiction writing to video games. Sign up by following my link, curiositystream.com/HAI, and get access to thousands of documentaries and educational videos on both CuriosityStream and Nebula, all while supporting independent creators for just under $1 a month with the current sale.